In its April 1931 issue, Gramophone magazine published a lengthy interview with Sergei Rachmaninoff. In it, he singles out personal favorites among his own recordings, all of them large-scale works. His own second piano concerto with the Philadelphia Orchestra under Leopold Stokowski, Chopin's second piano sonata, Schumann's Carnaval, and last but not least Grieg's C minor and Beethoven's G major sonatas for piano and violin in collaboration with Fritz Kreisler. In holiday mood, the composer must have been at ease, as he is unusually candid about his collaboration with Kreisler. He is a great artist, but does not care to work too hard. Being an optimist, he will declare with enthusiasm that the first set of proofs we make are wonderful, marvelous. But my own pessimism invariably causes me to feel and argue that they could be better. So when we work together, Fritz and I, we are always fighting. His characteristically tongue-in-cheek remarks had not been intended for publication, however. Rachmaninoff was greatly upset upon receiving the printed article. It ruined his summer, he said, and for a good reason. Precisely these chatty remarks are the ones most commonly cited in books and articles recalling the musical partnership between Sergei Rachmaninoff and Fritz Kreisler. And yet, there is so much more to be said and discovered about their lifelong friendship once you follow its tracks. It may well have been Fritz Kreisler who introduced himself to Rachmaninoff. Preserved in the Library of Congress are notes by the violinist's first biographer, Louis Lochner. They report that Kreisler welcomed Rachmaninoff to Vienna in 1902. We may take it that this meeting actually took place on January 9, 1903, on the occasion of Rachmaninoff's debut with the Wiener Concertverein, when he played his second piano concerto. Both men, who were soon to cement their names in music history, stood at the start of their careers. However, they did not develop their friendship on stage. So far, only a single dated reference to a concert in 1911 in Middlesbrough has turned up in which Rachmaninoff and Kreisler participated jointly with a program featuring Schubert's Rondo for violin and piano and a selection of solo piano works by Rachmaninoff. But there is no evidence yet that Rachmaninoff actually accompanied Kreisler. The other known occasion was a benefit concert in 1931 in Madison Square, New York. Kreisler performed Beethoven's violin concerto and Rachmaninoff soloed in his own second piano concerto. Same night, same place, but not the same work. Even so, it is certain that upon Sergei Rachmaninoff's arrival in New York in 1918, Fritz Kreisler was among the first colleagues to welcome the refugee Russian composer. Kreisler's wife Harriet, a true powerhouse who played the first violin whenever business was concerned, was involved in Rachmaninoff's introduction to the same agency that also represented her husband. Soon Kreisler and Rachmaninoff shared the same personal manager, Charles Foley. Foley became the mastermind behind the careful planning of Rachmaninoff's immensely successful pianist career. As the family's closest business confidant, he would even look after their interests and advise them on financial matters long after Rachmaninoff's death. At age 45, Sergei Rachmaninoff embarked on an international career as piano virtuoso. The associated daily routine of practice and training did not allow for composing activities. Throughout the first 8 years of exile, until 1926, Rachmaninoff did not complete a single new opus. In 1923, he confided in a letter to his Russian friend Nikita Morozov, "Either from fatigue or from the loss of composing discipline, I am not drawn to this activity, or rarely drawn." He kept it secret, however, that he was quietly working on regaining his composing discipline. Each summer, he produced a piano transcription. Even though these arrangements were clearly meant for inclusion in his concert repertoire, they also served as a warming up for renewed creativity. And it is precisely this comprehensive view that brings the artistic dialogue between Kreisler and Rachmaninoff into full focus. Charles Foley did not only serve as Fritz Kreisler's manager, but also as his exclusive music publisher. Foley was also directly involved in all music editions that Sergei Rachmaninoff published in the West through his own Paris-based publishing house. Among Kreisler's music published under Foley's imprint is a version of Rachmaninoff's song "O Cease Thy Singing Maiden Fair" in a translation by the Irish tenor John McCormack, to which Fritz Kreisler added a lovely violin obbligato. He and McCormack recorded it on April 2, 1920, at the RCA Victor Studio, Camden, New Jersey, alongside a similar arrangement of another song, "When Night Descends." Rachmaninoff answered this gesture by arranging a Russian folk song for McCormack that same summer and producing this wonderfully crafted piano transcription of Fritz Kreisler's Liebeslied the next. Its counterpart, Rachmaninoff's piano transcription of Liebesfreud, followed a year after John McCormack had recorded Rachmaninoff's songs "To the Children" and "Before My Window," with Fritz Kreisler once again contributing a violin obbligato part. Rachmaninoff, who was due to start his concert season in London, might even have attended the recording session on Wednesday, September 24, 1924, had the shortly announced wedding of his eldest daughter not taken place on that very same day. Throughout the course of the friendship, Fritz Kreisler, it must be said, turned out more transcriptions of Rachmaninoff's music than vice versa. At first glance, the Russian would seem less generous with musical pleasantries. Appearances are deceiving, though. A closer look at Charles Foley's publication catalogue of Fritz Kreisler's music reveals some conspicuous titles. In it, we find Kreisler's earlier arrangement of the very Capriccio, on which Rachmaninoff based his Paganini Rhapsody. He had similarly arranged the Prelude as well as the Gavotte from Bach's Partita for solo violin in E major that Rachmaninoff later subjected to a transcription for piano solo. Many scholars have indeed wondered why Rachmaninoff in the 1920s and 1930s based 3 transcription and 2 variation works on violin music. Conclusive evidence that directly links Rachmaninoff's output to Kreisler's transcriptions, however, remained hidden for decades in the music cabinet at Rachmaninoff's Swiss country retreat on Lake Lucerne. In the summer of 1930, Sergei Rachmaninoff had bought a large plot of land on the northern slope of a peninsula stretching far into the lake, commissioning Swiss architects Meury und Krebs to build a luxurious holiday retreat consisting of a villa and a separate garden annex in stark Bauhaus style. He named the estate SENAR, an acronym for Sergei and Natalia Rachmaninoff. By August 1931, the first structure was ready, and the Rachmaninoffs, who had spent part of the summer at a rented chateau in France, moved in. A small Steinway was installed in the upper bedroom on the southeast side, and it was here that Rachmaninoff read the proofs of his new Opus 42, the variations on the theme of Corelli. The opus is dedicated to Fritz Kreisler, a dedication that has puzzled many. Was it meant as a token of gratitude for the recordings made, or was it maybe an apology for Rachmaninoff's unfortunate comments about the recording sessions he made in Gramophone magazine earlier that summer? Both motivations seem likely. The actual reason, however, can be found among the scores Rachmaninoff studied in the late 1920s, part of which landed at SENAR along with a selection of books, letters, sheet music and other items brought from the chateau rented in France. Among these are not only Schumann's Études symphoniques, which Rachmaninoff was to perform at upcoming solo recitals as a counterpart to the newly finished Corelli variations, or a French edition of Corelli's Violin Sonata No. 12, La Folia, but revealingly a copy of Fritz Kreisler's freely arranged version of Corelli's work, the discovery of which not only proves the suspected link between Kreisler's work and Rachmaninoff's composition, but also marks his new opus as a deeply personal tribute to his friend. It reveals a profound appreciation of Fritz Kreisler's artistry, the warm humanity of his inimitable sound, the lilting nostalgia that permeates not only his violin playing, but also the unique blend of clear melody, smooth chromaticism, and mildly progressive harmonic twists that singles out all of his music and arrangements. An undated anecdote, handed down by Rachmaninoff's inner circle, tells about his reaction upon hearing Kreisler's epoch-changing reading of Beethoven's Violin Concerto for the first time when he and his family lived at Dresden. It made such a profound impression that for days on end, the mere recollection of the performance sufficed to move him to tears. The kinship between Rachmaninoff and Kreisler manifested itself first and foremost in music. Music bridged differences in temperament, in language and culture. Their equal fate as exiles from fallen empires and as spiritual residents of a vanished era would strengthen this bond over the years. Rachmaninoff's variations on the theme of Corelli tell the story. Just like Kreisler's version of Corelli's work, Rachmaninoff's variations end with a lingering coda. And in it, one can almost hear the purity and poignant brilliance of Kreisler's tone as the right-hand melody rises one last time from a harmonically shifting accompaniment, then slowly descends and ultimately lies to rest in the arms of the ephemeral Dies Irae, which Rachmaninoff mysteriously weaves through the concluding harmony.